अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta Namacharya Srila Haridas Prabhu Granthara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Hidaya Gautam All glories to the Samvati All glories to the Samvati All glories to the Samvati All glories, all glories, all glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitananda. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gauravakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna. So, we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 6, Text number 2. Rishi Ruvacha. So this is in a Gadya format, prose format, so I'll try to break it up so that you can follow easily. Satyam muktam kintviha vayeke na manaso adha vishrambham anavastanyasya shata kirita yeva sangacchate. What mean? You want to what mean? Please repeat. Rishi Ruvacha. Shukadeva Goswami said, Satyam, the correct thing. Uktam, have said. Kintu, but. Iha, in this material world. Va, ida. Eke, sun. Na, not. Of the mind. Adha, directly. Vishrambham, faithful. Anavasthanasya, being unsteady. Shatha, very cunning. Kirataha, a hunter. Iva, like. Sangate, become. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace.
क्या कह रही हो?
Narvanda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
क्या खानी है?
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, based on it.
नहीं रखी तो है मैंने.
Shukadeva Goswami replied, My dear king, you have spoken correctly. However, after capturing animals, a cunning hunter does not put faith in them, or they might run away. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life do not put faith in the mind. Indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch minds. In Bhagavad Gita 8.5, Lord Krishna said, karma na yakshan dhani kirtan. Yajno dhanam tapachaiva pavani manishna. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given, but should be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the race. Even one who has renounced the world and has taken sannyasa do not renounce charity. The great Shyamananda. Renunciation does not mean that one has to renounce completely. Similarly, one should not renounce charity. The yoga system for control of the mind and senses must be strictly followed. Lord Rishabhadeva showed how severe acts of tapasya could be performed, and he set an example for all of us. Ishvira Satyamuktam Kimpihvai Patnamaso Atharsham Avasanasya Shakakidata Divasagacha. Srila Sukadeva Goswami replied, my dear king, we have spoken correctly. So, who is talking? Sukadeva Goswami, Yarushi Sukadeva Goswami, the speaker of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. He is addressing King Parikshit. He said, you have spoken correctly. So, what did Parikshit Maharaj say? So, in previous verse, Parikshit Maharaj said, Raju Bhajan. Nanam Bhagavata Atmaraman Yoga Samarita Jnana Vachita Karma Vijana Aishwaryani Shradhani Bhajatum Arati Vidyaja Yoga. King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami, my dear Lord, for those who are completely pure in heart, knowledge is attained, but practice of bhakti. And attachment for fruitive activity is completely burned to ashes. For such people, the powers of mystic yoga automatically arise. They do not cause distress. Why then did Rishabhadeva negate them? Here, in this chapter, the activities of Lord Rishabhadeva are mentioned. Activities of Rishabhadeva are the activities of Navadhuta or Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa is the last stage of renunciation. What are the 4 stages of renunciation if you have taken sannyas? What do you refer to? Paramahamsa. The first stage of sannyasa is putisha. When you renounce the world, they are not so detached from the world and family, so they put on putisha. Putisha means one hut or some ashram in the outskirts of the village. So the family members will go and supply prasad, breakfast, so that he can focus on bhakti. He is away from home and he can use his time. So that is called putisha. Then Bhavadaka. Then once he practices for some time, naturally there should be some awareness that I've left my family, but still I'm depending on family for maintenance. So I should not be depending on my family. So rather I should depend on the society. Because when you depend on the society, that practically means you are depending on it. Because when you go and beg somebody, or ask a donation, or do something, some people respond in different ways, some people respond. So how they respond, we don't have any control. So doing things which we are not in control also in one way of renunciation. So Bhagavatam means he goes around and then begs. Then he says, whether I am Putichaka, whether I am Bhagavatam, I am still after food, maintenance. Before I was, maintaining myself from family, and now I am doing from the village. Now I should go and practice devotional service. What is the practice of devotional service? When I talk about practices, Doctor doesn't practice for himself, isn't it? When he practices himself, he doesn't practice himself. Putting nice dress, go to your room, close the door, and practice. So practice doesn't mean for himself. Practice means serving others. That is what practice. And for us, devotional life, practice means helping others get what you have acquired. Helping others get what you have acquired. So then the question is, have I acquired something? Yes, certainly we have acquired something. But the problem is, we have to have some kind heart to share with others. So then he develops kind heartedness. And then he goes around and preaches. It's called Paribhagavatam. That's why when we say Srila Prabhupada's Pranam, he is Paramahamsa and he is a Paribhagavatam. Then the last is Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa means he again comes back and sits at one place. So where he started, because he was sitting at one place. And when he becomes Paramahamsa, he again comes back after sufficiently traveling around the world and engaged in teaching activities. One has to spend some time in absorption of Krishna. This is called retirement. This is called retirement. So that's why every devotee, ours is a preaching movement. Ours is a preaching movement. We can't take ourselves completely out of preaching our devotional service and take 10 years off from my work. Because our life should be dedicated to propagating message of Lord Chaitanya. We should be serving throughout our life until our last breath. We should be engaged in service of Krishna. That is the point. So then, where this Paramahamsa attitude will be implemented in our lives? You see. So means when we are engaged in Krishna consciousness, we have to allocate some time to our own self, absorbing Krishna, so that we gain some strength to do preaching further. Most of the devotees, what happens is they do so much service and then say, "No, I will take some rest and retire." Yes, we have to retire, but the retirement is about completely absorbing Krishna consciousness. So, on day-to-day basis, also you should retire. If you don't know how to retire on day-to-day basis, you don't know what you do when you retire. Whole day you are just engaged in activities and suddenly you retire, you don't know what to do. So this retirement activity, which is actually the important element of our life, should be practiced on day-to-day basis. How to do this retirement activity on day-to-day basis? Means we should disconnect ourselves. We should disconnect ourselves from the mainstream and try to allocate time for our own self. This is very important. Normally we become so busy with many things that we become bogged down with many things. Finally, we will be left with nothing to contemplate. See, that's why we should learn from cow. Cow eats something, and when it has some free time, cow basically tries. What do you call it? Green vegetable. Huh? Green vegetable. Okay. So it starts reviving now. So like that, we read so much knowledge. Now that we gain so much knowledge, we do a lot of seva in the day, and we do so many activities. But do you allocate some time to reflect on what you have read, and what you have done, and what you have interacted throughout the day? And if you look at our own lives, hardly we find time for that. Then they say, Prabhu, we are too busy to reflect. If you are too busy to reflect, that means you are not busy at all. You are not busy at all. So, this is very important. Unless you digest, even if you take the best of the best food stuff, it will only cause toxic effect. Suppose if your digestion system is not functioning, and you are taking the best of best things into the stomach, then what happens? It will create some problem in the stomach. So similarly, whatever amount of devotional service you do on day-to-day basis, please take some time to reflect. And that is the point you should do before you go to bed. You can't say that when Mangalarati is happening, this is my time for reflection. When Bhagavatam is happening, no, I'll sit at my home and then reflect on what I have done. The reflection happens when you retire at the end of the day. That at the end of the day, you have nothing. You have only one thing. What is that? Sleep. So reflection should be done by taking some time on what you do for resting, isn't it? That's why when you become spiritually very advanced, you sleep less. When you become spiritually advanced, you sleep less, you eat less. And then you engage with the mundane activities for a minimum time. So this is the meaning of Paramahamsa. So here, the activities of Rishabhadeva are Paramahamsa. When you become a Paramahamsa, you transcend the rules and regulations. Because you follow rules and regulations for becoming perfect. But when you become perfect, then the question is, do you have to follow rules and regulations? They follow purpose.
Sorry, they can't hear you on Srimad. I'm getting multiple complaints.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's okay. They follow for others. They follow for others. That's the whole point of this verse. It says, whatever Parikshit Maharaj asks, my think you have spoken correctly. However, after capturing animals, a cunning hunter does not put faith in them, for they might run away. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life do not put faith in the mind. So even if you become perfect in Krishna consciousness, something that you cannot trust is your mind. But what you don't trust is outside people, isn't it? It's very difficult to develop trust, isn't it? It's very difficult to develop trust. And intrinsically, a jiva has this nature of distrusting others, isn't it? Because to develop trust takes some time, isn't it? So, how to use that nature of distrusting others? Distrust your mind. Distrust your mind. This is important. See, when I said contemplation means any positive qualities or negative qualities when someone observes in their lives, he knows that when I'm doing devotion to Krishna, why Krishna is allowing me to express the tendencies? That means there must be some use for them, isn't it? There must be some use. So, even by my past karma, I have some bad tendencies. But because Krishna is very kind, I'm engaged in service, Krishna is telling me that you can also use these tendencies. So distrusting others you can use to distrust. What is the meaning of distrusting our mind? Mind does two things, sankalpa and vikalpa. Sankalpa means it accepts something. Vikalpa means it rejects something. Sankalpa means it accepts something, and vikalpa means it rejects something. And then you might say, oh, what is the big deal? After all, we have to use our discrimination and accept something and reject something. No. Not to mind this. It accepts something at some time, and after it rejects the same thing. It rejects the same thing. And once it rejects something, and after that it accepts the same thing. So when you reject the same thing and accept something, the problem is not with the object or being that you have rejected or accepted. The problem is with yourself. And what is that? That's called mind. So then the question is, then is there any person like mind that you have to speak and you have to listen? Because we never see our mind, it's a very subtle. Krishna says, Bhumira Bhuvanara Vayukam Buddhe Panchabhutas are very Panchabhutas. The subtlest thing is the the sound, and even the more subtler than the sound is the ether. So far modern technology is concerned, they could go up to the sound, but they haven't studied the science of ether. And subtler than the ether is the mind, and subtler than the mind is intelligence, and subtler than the mind is a false ego, and subtler than the false ego is Atman, and even subtler than that is Krishna. To understand Krishna, you don't accept technology. Not possible at all. So, how do we know when we are operating on mental platform? When you are performing something for your own self, yes, you can say that you are working on the platform. What mind does is, mind does give some instructions to you on a constant basis. Constant basis. Actually, we think we have our mind, but actually, mind has. The soul is not capturing the mind. Soul doesn't have a mind in that sense. But the mind, the soul is captured by the subtle body. And the subtle body appears. See, don't think mind, intelligence, and false ego are like three different entities and soul is somewhere. No. At different levels of maturity, the subtle body appears in different ways. The three things can never be perceived by somebody by himself. When Krishna says Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, these are there when you see from the top, from the transcendental platform, you see there is a distinction between mind, intelligence, and false ego. But as such, for us, mind is the same, and intelligence is the same, and false ego is the same. It is as inseparable as heat and light and fire, isn't it? Fire. When there is a fire, there is a heat and light, isn't it? Can you separate heat from the fire? No. Can you separate light from the fire? Or can you separate fire from both heat and light? Because they coexist each other. So mind, intelligence, and false ego, they coexist each other at different levels of maturity of our body. We perceive our ego in terms of the mind, in terms of the intelligence, in terms of ego. In that sense, the ego is different. So, how do we know whether we are on mental platform, whether we are on intelligence platform, or whether we are on ego platform? So, mental platform, that is, how do we know whether we are depending on our mind means? We do not take advice from others. So, as I said, mind constantly gives advice. And at the beginning of our maturity of bhakti, so what we do, any advice we get from seniors, they say, I know better than you do. You should immediately know that you are on mental platform. When you take advice from others who are experienced, then what happens is your mind is not acting. When mind is not acting, your intelligence will not act. When mind and intelligence will not act, even if you have ahankara, false ego, that will be very, very subdued and dominant and not manifest. So the first thing that we should do to come out of this mental platform is try to get advice from others. Getting advice from others is not each and everyone. That's why association is important. You know why association is important? Association is important because they will give you advice. They will give advice and you should be ready to take it. So then there is this is a mental platform. There is a second level, that's called intelligence. They take advice and they apply their own intelligence. You understand? So in the name of consultation, I will ask Rasraj Prabhu, Subal Prabhu, and everyone, and then prove myself that I am a good consultant. And they know that I am a good team player, that I consult each and everyone. But at the end of the day, you do whatever you want. And you don't see any tiny fraction of your feedback that you got from the devotees in your activity. This is intelligence platform. Intelligence platform is very difficult to come out. Very difficult to come out because when the mind is not acting, then what happens? When the mind is not acting, the intelligence is flat. So you are taking advice from others, but intelligence is acting, and intelligence is a subtler form of manifesting your subtle body. It's a very scientific and deep type of contemplate on it. And then when you are acting on intelligence platform, then what happens is, it is a matter of a day or two, no time, that you start acting on ahankara. Then what happens? What happens? You just do what you want. But this is all done by the mind. That's what Sukadeva Goswami is telling. We shouldn't basically, trust the mind. Because the mind doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the Prakriti. Prakriti has a different job, but the Atma has a different job. So, and the best example given here is, a cunning hunter does not put faith in animals. This example is very profound. To hunt an animal, it's not easy, That's why in animal kingdom, the higher powerful you are, the difficulty you feel to survive, Suppose if you are a small ant is provided with all the resources for survival by Krishna without any effort. Isn't it? It can go anywhere and eat something and will survive. But survival of lion is very difficult. Lion is Mrigaraj. Mrigaraj is the king of the forest. And that's what in Subhashita it is said, Nahi Suktasya Simhasya Ravishanti Vivekan. It's not that I'm the king of the forest. And I open my mouth and then breakfast, one animal will come and get inside. Like one, nobody. That's why the hunter doesn't get, the lion doesn't get food all the time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The body is made such a way that once it hunts, then for 2-3 days, by the principles of nature, it will not get much food. And then Krishna arranges because Krishna looks after everyone. So the higher grade you are, you have to work very hard for your maintenance. Even in devotional service, the higher rank you are, the amount of sadhana you do, the amount of humility you need to express is all very, very high. So it's like a lion and the king of the forest. But when you say I sleep, and then one rabbit will come, my dear man, you are a very big thing, you are my boss, so let me enter you. No, nobody wants to be, food for a lion, isn't it? But if you want to catch an animal, how much work the hunter has to do there? Like, lion hunts the animals. Similarly, a hunter also hunts the animals. And no one wants to be captured. Mind doesn't want to be captured by us. But when a hunter becomes successful by capturing animal, what? He becomes extra vigilant. Because if he is not vigilant, what he loses is much more. Before that, he didn't have any animal. And now when he gets an animal, he has two things. What is that? His hard endeavor and animal. You understand? How to understand this point? If he is not intelligent, it's not that the animal will run away. If an animal runs away, because he's a hunter, he can get the animal back, isn't it? But he will not get the endeavor that he has put in. Animal is just a result of his endeavor and action. And if he is not vigilant, he loses confidence in his own self. You understand? He loses confidence in his own self. It's not about animal, if he is not vigilant, animal will go away. No, the effort that he put to bring that animal into capture will be lost. And when you lose that, when you lose your effort, when you put some effort on something and you lose it, it is called loss. It is called loss. For a hunter, if an animal goes, that's not a loss. But his endeavor to put that animal in capture,
That is the meaning. That is the meaning. So then he says he does not put faith in the mind. So how do we not put faith in our mind? That means even if your mind is giving some advice, please consult with others. Everything good advice. So my spiritual master, when he goes to the altar, he says, and do this kind, he knows many, but still you consult. Still you consult. And Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam, so Yajnadana tapakarma natyacham karyameva yajnodana tapacheva pavanahati manishinam. One should not give up three things. What are those? Yajna, dana, tapa. Yajna means for Krishna conscious devotees. Or for Kali Yuga, we should not give up Sankirtana Yajna. Sankirtana Yajna means chanting the holy names of Krishna. So that means, even if you are very advanced, you should not think that even if I don't chant my rounds, I will be fine. Yeah. Rather, you should be chanting more. You should be chanting more. Interestingly, on festival days, our chanting should be very high. Normally, we become very busy on festival days, isn't it? But rather, we chant more number of rounds on festivals. That's what my spiritual master says. Normal days we chant 16. On Ekadasis and some important special days we chant 25. So, but on festival days we become busy. But at the same time, we should not give up. That principle. Yajna, that is the idea of chanting. Dhanam means charity. When you become a devotee, you don't have gold, money, cows to do charity. So, what do you have to do charity? Time, Manasa, Deha, Geha, Jokuchu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur very nicely used. My dear Nanda Kishore, Krishna. Manasa, Deha, Geha, Jokuchu. Even though we say that we don't have anything, but we have few things. What are those? By mercy of Krishna, we got everyone got this. Manasa, we have our mind. Deha, we have got our body. Geha means. And if you are homeless, what do you do? Do you have a house? Whatever is your shelter, that is your house. Whether you have a mortgage-free house or mortgage house or own house, that doesn't matter. Rental house. Where your footpath becomes your house. Manasa Deha Kiha, Jo Kuchi Mole, Arpita Tumama Deha. So here, how do we offer our mind to Krishna? Always think of him. How do we think of him? Always think of him like Kamsa was thinking, very better. Oh, day and night he was Krishna conscious. He was almost, become fully conscious of Krishna. His Krishna consciousness was not counted positively because he was conscious of Krishna. How to kill Krishna, isn't it? So, how do you think about Krishna? Savai Maya Krishna, Padaravindayo. How do you think about Krishna? Contemplation of the service. Contemplation of the service, yes. Suppose, imagine you have got some service opportunity and you contemplate, that is very good for applying your mind. But then, the two things also will happen. You will not be in a position to do service or you will not have service. What do you do? It's not that throughout our life we have some services. There will be some situations some services will be taken. There will be some situations that you may not be able to render your services. How to apply your mind? Yes, contemplating how to do service is first level of applying mind in Krishna. How to do service? How to contemplate your service? How to do it in a better way? This is called using your mind in the service of Krishna. Then the second. Suppose if you are not able to perform certain service, then what you do? Even though you have ability, but not perform service, then what do you do? Sometimes it happens. You have full ability to do some service, but you are not allowed to do some service. What do you do? How do you apply your mind? You know that these three things will happen at any point in our life. You have some service, you know, you practice how to contemplate, do the service better. And the second, sometimes even though you are capable, you may not have skills. Then in that case, what do you do? This is called second level of application. What do you do in the second level?
Serving the devotee is doing the service. Serving the devotee is doing assisting them.
Yes, that is good. Any other thing?
There is always something to serve. It's not.
It's very important.
It's nothing.
There is always something to serve, and the best of the king of all services is Evam Pada Swayameva Smritidaha. Chanting the holy names of Krishna is the highest service. So that means, even though you are capable, but you are not able to serve, you say, "Oh, Krishna wants me to chant more rounds." So then you increase your chant. So this is the second level of mind's application in Krishna consciousness. And the third is service is there, and you want to do service, and you contemplate how to do service, but physically you are not able to do service. What do you do? It is the highest absorption of mind that one can get into Krishna consciousness. Then the Dainya Bhava will come. Dainya Bhava means that humility. Dainya means there are different levels of humility. Dainya is considered a mixture of humility. In that stage, what happens? Humility means we think we are less. That is the first level of humility. Then the second level of humility is we think everyone is great, better than. That is the second level of humility. When the Dainya comes, whether me or others, there is only one person who is great, that is Krishna. That is the real humility, isn't it? That is real humility. When you reach that point, all other levels of humility is automatic. So that's why one should be Krishna conscious to be humble. Unless you know Krishna, see, unless you know the biggest, then everything appears small or big to you, isn't it? So that's why we should learn who is Krishna, what his activities are, what his likes and dislikes. So at that stage, how do we apply our mind? You got my question? You have some service to do, and you can contemplate on the service how to do that, but you are not able to do the service.
We're studying Shastras, observing Shastras, Shastric knowledge, Krishna, so that we make it more and more.
This is the verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya in the 7th verse in the 6th Shastra. What he says. That is the last verse. What is the 7th verse? Yugaitam nivishena chakshusha pravushaitam shunyaitam jagasarvam govindavate. For you, everything except Krishna becomes shunya. This is called Jagat Sunya. But you are Viraha from Govinda. This is the stage that a devotee should come to eventually when you practice that. What is that? Jagat is Sunya. When Jagat is Sunya, then the attachments that you have in this world, they are meaningless to you. We are after how to sever our attachments, is it? Mama and Mamata, isn't it? Because we have somewhere, these attachments. But when the Jagat itself is Vidya or something, Shunya, then where is the question of your attachment? That doesn't happen, isn't it? So because Jagat will become Shunya to you only when you become Viraha from Govinda. That's it. Viraha from Govinda. Have you ever seen when someone loses something very precious, Like when mother loses a child, even not only human beings, even animals. I've seen some, things. I've seen one monkey lost a baby monkey. The monkey was, like and, and all the monkeys around. So this monkey doesn't see any other monkeys. Now anything exists for this monkey. No. Because she lost everything. Whatever she has. So if you think Krishna is your only property, then if he is away, then the jagat becomes. But for us, we have Krishna and we have other things also. So this is the last stage. Then there is the consciousness that a devotee applies mind in the service of Krishna. So this is called dharana. This is called charity. Then the question is, where is the charity? Prabhu, you spoke about different levels of applying mind in Krishna consciousness. But where is the charity? We spoke about service. And then I have applied the concept of service in relation to application of the mind. Now, where is the question of charity? These three applications. You hear this song, Govinda Das sings, Bhajapure Maha Srinandanandana, Abhay Charana. My dear man, please think about Krishna, who is Nandana, because lotus feet are Abhay. So, charity means giving Krishna consciousness to others. This is the best charity, isn't it? Because people lack knowledge about Krishna. Charity starts from our own home, isn't it? Charity starts from your own home. Your home is yourself. So, charity should start from you. What is a charity? You should start from yourself. You should tell your mind and give charity to your mind. What is a charity? My dear mind, please take this Hare Krishna mantra. Please think about Krishna. Why are you going here? So you should beg your mind. This is the last level of applying mind in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes when we sing this, it's a normal song, yeah. Govinda Das is telling mind, think about Krishna. There is a great deep meaning for that. He crossed these two levels, and the last, he has a service. But he is not able to do that service, but he knows how to do that service also. Then he says, my dear mind is pleading the mind. Please think about Krishna. Think about Krishna. This is called charity. Charity you should give to your mind in terms of giving Krishna consciousness. And tapasya. What is the tapasya? Even if you become very advanced, you should not stop your vastu. What is your vastu? What is your vastu? There are so many vastu. And Prabhupada says, Lord Rishabhadeva have shown how severe and he set an example for all of us. Srila Prabhupada says, he set an example for all others. So do we have to follow Rishabhadev's example? That's what Prabhupada said. He set an example for all others include all of us. Srila Prabhupada won't write purpose like that. He has a meaning. What is the meaning of he set an example? So do we have to follow Rishabhadev's example? Take your clothes away, stay wherever you are, pass your stool, urine, and then what is the example?
Follow his instructions, not imitate it.
Yes. There are few things that you should imitate also. See, follow the instructions. Rishwara is not giving any instructions. Have you seen the previous chapter? It's not that while he was following all these activities, he is giving instructions, but he gave instructions and then left. To his 100 children, he gave instructions and left. So what is something that you can imitate from Rishabhadeva? He's not speaking anything. He didn't speak to you. Of course, we can understand from his teachings that he has given to understand. But you can imitate something. You can start practicing something from the life of Krishna.
Absorption, name of Krishna.
Absorption is an internal phenomenon. Detachment is also an internal phenomenon. Absorption and detachment will manifest in certain way. See, it's not that I have detachment and I have absorption. It will stay inside my, no, it will manifest. It will manifest. That's why those who stay, who are very humble, that's why we do it. He's nothing. You have something in the heart, it will manifest. Either in Kriya or Nishkriya in both ways.
But the absorption which promotes the tolerance.
Its tolerance is also an internal phenomenon. See, I may be tolerant, but grinding my teeth inside, not telling anything, biting the bullet. There is no tolerance. See, sometimes we say that bite the bullet. Yes, bullet might not cause problem for others, but your bullet cause problem for your own self because the stress will develop a lot of toxicity in yourself. That level of tolerance is very bad. It's better shout at you will be safe and that can be looked after later. This level of tolerance is very dangerous. That just close your eyes and bite the bullet. Hey, you have bullet not to buy for yourself. The bullets are there, brother. If you are not using for others, better not to buy that. What do you do? You got my question. What we can take as a symbol of imitation, this can be practiced later also. Not respond to all the bad things that others have done to Rishabdev. In the previous couple of weeks ago, we have seen people who are coming and spitting, passing forward, telling things, throwing rubbish on him, saying many things. See, so many people, even though he's a Paramahansa, but still, many people coming and doing so many things. But what Rishabdev is now, that is detachment. So detachment means, even if others do something, we should not do this. This is called biting the bullet. Then the question is, yes, Prabhu, even if others are doing, if I am not doing, what is the difference between biting the bullet and that bullet? Still biting. That means, when others are criticizing you or whatever, people criticizing you, unless you have any other job, then you will be bogged down with this criticism. You understand? I'll give you this example. You are in a house and the house is on a fire, and someone gave a ladder to you to come out of this one. There are some mad people sitting in the home, and they are not using this ladder, and they are praising you and they are criticizing you. So, do you have to come down from the ladder to receive that nice fan from them? Or do you have to fight with those people who are criticizing? No, just climb the ladder and come out because you will be burnt eventually. So that means when we are fully Krishna conscious, that means that's why we should know not to become tolerant. We should know how to become Krishna conscious. Then all these manifestations of tolerance and everything will come. So then, why Rishabdev is not practicing basically responding to those? He has capability to change everybody. Rishabdev is the Supreme Personality of God. Those who ever doing bad things to him, he could have simply changed his Hridaya and then say, oh, they would have become nice devotees. Why did he do that? This is what he is teaching to us. That you can imitate. What you can imitate. Even if others are not doing, even if others are doing something, I should be busy in my own Krishna consciousness so that I don't have to find it. You understand my point? You have nothing else to do, and if others are criticizing, two things will happen. Either you respond to that or you bite the bullet. But if you are busy at other things, in this case, the person is climbing the ladder. For him, criticism and praise, they do not make any sense. This is called tapasya. What is this tapasya? We discussed about the idea of dana and tapa. Tapa is austerity. And Prabhupada says, he set an example. What is that? Set an example. What example we can follow from Krishna today?
You can be busy in our Krishna consciousness without getting disturbed.
Yes. And how do we know we are busy in Krishna consciousness?
When you don't use
It's not responding to others. Not responding to others. Even though that is an external, but external will become you fake it until you make it. There are some things you have to fake it. Isn't it? There are some things you cannot fake it. So one should be mature enough to understand. So what is the austerity now? We should understand from this. If you are very advanced, we should give up this. You know, when we are at the beginning levels of bhakti, even if someone does something to her, who will do? Prabhu so so very. You see, they appreciate. You know, you come to them and you get one nice mother to sleep. So kind, that mother they gave, that Prabhuji gave, so good, so happy. And as we advance, our level of appreciation for others decreases and level of appreciation for our own self increases. You see? This is what try to understand in our own lives of Krishna consciousness. Before that, except you, everyone is a Mahabhagavatam. Isn't it? Even if somebody asks, yes, jumping and then you do. I should have. I have my own self. Do you understand? So, what decreases, you know, in experiments, you draw one graph. Yes, curve. Sometimes. Like this. Yes, curve. Children, when you do some chemistry experiments, you do that. Like, yes, curve. First, it is going this way. The field of the x-axis, the field is the same. The experiment is the same. But some experiments, they have a curve like this, and then go and reaches one point, and go like this in a different way. So what we should be having this tapasya? Our tapasya is appreciating others. And appreciating others means what we should appreciate. In the third and particular conversation, here in the chapter. Mandara kunda prabhottara champakana punnagana gopavanya parijata. Gadhechite tulasika bharvena tasya yasmin tataha sumanatu pamana. You know, in Vaikuntha, you have many flowers. If you go to Brisbane flower market, what do you get? 80% of the flowers, they don't have any smell, fragrance. But they are very expensive. Even if you put it inside your nose, also you don't smell. So they are not very fragrant. But in in Vaikuntha, there are many fragrant, like Mandara, Kunda. Krishna is called Mukunda. You know Krishna's name, why is he called Mukunda? Yeah, many meanings. But when it comes to this context, why is called Mukunda?
It's like flower. His smile is like flower.
No. When he smiles, his teeth appears like Kunda flowers. You know, there are different aspects. If your teeth is nice, small, like Urudda, very like jasmine buds, they're very, very nice. Krishna's teeth are very small and nice. So he's called Mukunda. When we smile, when Krishna smiles, it's like Mukunda, Kunda flowers. That's why it's called Mukunda. So anyway, Mandara, Kunda, Kurava, Utpala, Champaka, Arva, Punnaga, Naga, Bakula, Parijata, all flowers. But there is one plant which never produces any flowers, only leaves. What is that? Tulsi. Tulsi doesn't have any flowers as such, if you see. You can't make a garland for Tulsi flowers. You can make mandalas, but that's not a flower. And if you compare, if you take the Champaka tree, not Champaka, The golden flower, very fragrant. Lotus is very fragrant. But if you put tulsi, compared to those fragrant flowers, tulsi is significantly doesn't have any flavor, any fragrance. But still, Krishna accepts tulsi leaves compared to all other flowers. That's why tulsi is called Mahapushpa. Even if you don't have any flowers, you offer one tulsi leaf to Krishna. It is equivalent to offering all the fragrant flowers in the universe. That's why you should offer tulsi leaves to Krishna. But when tulsi is preferred by Krishna, all other fragrant flowers they take a back stage. Even though they are fully qualified to produce nice fragrance and color and appearance and everything, but when Krishna accepts the tulsi garland, they will take a back stage because Yasmin Tapaha Sumanaso Bahumanayanti. They know what austerities this tulsi has gone through to get this position. Appreciation means one should know what this devotee has gone through in the life, how many difficulties that he has come to this position. They should appreciate that the background tapasya, not what it appears outside, the background tapasya. Yasmin Tara Sumanaso Bahumanayanti, they are well aware of it. That's why if you want to know somebody, try to learn the devotee's background, what austerities he has gone through to become this level and to become this. If you do that, then you will not have any problem. Simply by external elements, then you think, I'm big, you are small, you are big, I am small. That's why it's so much to learn from Bhagavatam. Let's make that. Sumanaso Bahumanayanti, they know very well Bahumanayanti. What is that? Sumanaso, Tapaha. Tulsi Maharani did so many austerities. That's why whether Krishna wears Vaijayanti Mala or not, he wears from Tulsi garland. According to Hariyat Vilasa, you cannot be the destiny of Krishna unless he wears Tulsi garland. That's why in big temples like Vrindavan, Mayapur, you see Radha Madhava always has Tulsi garland, even in winter or summer. Mahaprabhu also. But at least we offer Tulsi to the lotus feet. That means without Tulsi, the presence of the Lord, the curtains cannot be lit. In that sense. So this is a tapasya. What is our tapasya? What is our tapasya? What is the meaning of appreciation? Is not words. Yes, that can be done. Appreciation means like our Bhagavatam is saying, Yasmin Tapaha Sumanasu Bahumanayanti. How many struggles this devotee has gone through to come to this position? When you are conscious of this, naturally appreciate. So, Yajna, Jnana, Tapa. These three things you should never do. I've spoken a lot. I'll stop here. Wait for 10 minutes. So, any questions or comments? Try to get comments. Excuse me. That's the question regarding self-realization. As Krishna said, he left his responsibilities. He also lost his self-identity as to who he was earlier. And he accepted a new form of devotion and commitment to devotion, where it didn't matter what the extrinsic factors were influencing, but it was more about his inner thought and his new identity of Krishna consciousness. So losing one's ego or self-identity also becomes plays a significant role. So that means it's also an internal factor rather than an external factor. When you said about that, so just trying to ask you because that is not, mentioned as an ego factor. So does this still play a role? When we lose our self-identity, that's also a part of growth of. Yes, it's a good question. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15.8, Mama Eva Jiva Loki, Jiva Buddhism. We are all parts and parcels of Krishna. I'm checking in Mantra the Lord, and he says, Jiva is Swarupa Nithya Krishna. So So our identity is an eternal servant of Krishna. That is our identity. That is our true identity. Yes, that's why we say we should not have false ego, but we should have ego. What is our ego? Because without identity, you are not there, because we are individuals. So individual has a specific identity. So the scriptures say that we should lose our false identity and then we should gain our real identity. What is our real identity? Jivera Swarupakoi Nityara Krishna Das. So Rishabhadev, he was having different identities. He was as a father, he was as a king, and he left all other identities and he situated in his real identity that I'm Atma. And basically he's a supreme lord in that sense. So that's why the external situations are not basically disturbing. So here the two things, internal, yes, losing our identity is an internal thing, but the internal things, the bodies are such a mechanism that internal things will eventually manifest. Because you cannot keep fire also for a long time. It will manifest, if not in 1 degree, in a different degree. So when we lose our material identity and gain the spiritual identity, then our response to that self-identification of being a servant of Krishna, that we stop responding to any negative things that is coming from us. This is actually mentioned in the case of Parikshit Maharaj. Tiriskrita Vipralabdha, Shakta Shakta Hadapiva, Nakurvanti, Nayati Kurvanti, Sabhakta Prabhu. He says, you may be criticized, you may be given curse, you may be even killed, but in all these situations, a devotee does not retaliate. So this is a manifestation of his internal life. So that cannot be imitated, but the internal thing also cannot be imitated in one sense. So when an opportunity which should be imitated, the first should be imitated, then the second should be automatically realization. So sometimes, sometimes we say, my mind is not good, I'm not feeling very good. Just say that, go and take bath and have some nice music, you'll be fine, isn't it? So internally you have some problem, but there are some suggestions. If you address your external situations, internal things will be starting to fall out of place. So when it comes to imitation, because we don't know the internal thing, we can never imitate it. But external, we should imitate. What is that? When you see some devotees, some elevated people, when they are like Rishabhadev, when it's not responding to all these bad activities that people are doing, this should be imitated. Oh, maybe if that happens to me, I shouldn't be doing. Isn't it sometimes children? Children learn by seeing. Others learn by hearing. So generally, if you tell children, they don't listen because they have no capacity. But if you do, if you demonstrate, they pick up very quickly. They absorb things very hard. So when it comes to imitation, we should imitate. The children also, when such thing comes, I should be doing like this. But he doesn't know what is tolerance and what is the. So yes, we should take that part from Rishabhadev and start imitating. What is that imitation? Even if they do that, I should do, like what Rishabhadev did, I should not respond. Yet then the question is, are you really internally qualified not to respond? That I don't know. But external things will manifest internal things eventually. There's a symbiotic relationship there. Any other question?
Maybe just a comment. You were talking earlier about reflection. So even in the workplace, it's a very big thing nowadays. There's studies that show if you actually do reflection, this is a mundane example, but you actually internalize things that you actually really learn doing reflection. So it's not just in spiritual circle, but mainstream, education is highly important. So it's really devotion.
This reflection is so powerful, not only it helps you, but it helps everyone around. You know what happened to Sobari? Sobari when he thought doing meditation on land is more risky because he has to see everything, his mind get disturbed. So that he knows this verse very well. You should never trust the mind. That's why he went inside the water, Yamuna, and he started it. But he didn't know that there will be Sankara also inside the water. What is it? To fish, he's in nature. He's, I don't know why he opened. Actually, he was closing his eyes. I don't know why he opened. Anyway, that's a big story. So then what happened? The Sobari Muni, where he was? He was in Yamuna. He was in Yamuna. Where Krishna played with Kaliya, the Kaliya. When you go to Vrindavan and Parikrama, there is a Kaliya. So Sobari Muni is tapasya place. So when he came out, he desired to have a marriage. So they tried to get to Mathura, not very far. He didn't go to South India or nothing. He went to Mathura. At that time, I think of Mathura or Mantha. Mantha has 50 daughters. And Acharya explained his age was 90 years old. So imagine 90 years old man coming to your home and you have nice beautiful daughters. And if the yogi asks, can I marry your daughter? Not a very good proposal from any side. So, and the king is well versed with the diplomacy. He says, I have no problem because he's very careful. He's a yogi, he can do anything. I have no problem, but it's a proposal that my daughters husband by her. Means if they are happy, then no problem. Then Saubhari also, because the devotees are even more smarter than the politicians. Why Saubhari is why Mandata. So then, because I am actually a Latin, so using his yogic he became so handsome that it is mentioned in Bhagavatam that in the 9th canto study that even the Devatas, damsels also will get attracted to the Saubhari. That handsome became. Then, when he was seen by all these 50 daughters, they were fighting, hey, I saw first, I saw first. Then Saubhari Muni, because of his yogic siddhis, he married all 50. And he produced 100 children from each wife. Mentioned in Bhagavatam. Then the family is 5,000. 5,100, sorry. No, 5,000. 50. Yeah.
500. All family.
He's very smart. Anyway, more than 5,000. Can you imagine what a busy life you have? 50 wives and 100 children. Very busy life. And then at one fine point, he was contemplating his reflection. Where I was, where I was nicely meditating. And now where I am? Became son-in-law of Mandata. Forget about son-in-law. Husband of 50 wives and father of 5,000 children. Not a good thing. Then he left wives and then get lost. He realized and he decided to go back to Vrindavan for meditation. He went to forest. Very close. That's why, even if you have sense gratification, don't go very far. Imagine if you have gone to South India, it will be very difficult to come back to Vrindavan. That's why he went to Mathura and then he decided came back again to Vrindavan. He said, I am going to Vrindavan again for meditation. And because he was a great sage, and he did a lot of tapasya in previous time, all 50 daughters also followed him. All 50 wives also followed him. My dear husband, we will also come. So then, they just did meditation along with Saubhari. Along with Saubhari, everyone achieved perfection. This reflection, but this reflection is a very costly reflection. But even though it's costly, but it helped everybody. Otherwise, daughters of Mandata never got it. Reflection is so important. It will help yourself and others. Any other from the Zoom?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. I'm really sorry I have to just mention it, that somehow the Zoom audiences were not able to hear you very clearly. everything was same over there, but I don't know. I think we have to try to rectify that. We miss so much your valuable, points in this lecture, and thank you very much for that. I was just thinking of one thing, that we were talking about the mind, and the thing is that when we chant our rounds, and we see that I myself see that I'm chanting and suddenly my mind has gone somewhere. So I was just reading that we have to be always vigilant about this mind and try to get the mind back. And mind is like a thief, and if we let it go, then it will just be wandering everywhere. So we have to be very careful doing anything, that we have to watch our minds. So that's the one point which I would try to I always try to do that. I am vigilant of mind. The other thing you mentioned, if I'm not incorrect, that one has to prove that he is trustworthy by his actions, and then we can accept him as trustworthy. There are people who will be there and they will give you advices and everything, and but the thing is that how we can trust is only but the person when he proves that he is trustworthy. So we should not take every person you are in association with that he is trustworthy. So we have to be very careful. So that's the 2 points which I came. But I'm really sorry that we most of the Zoom people were not able to hear you, and that's our loss. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. I think we should try. We try with the help of Yamuna Mataji and other speakers. I'm not there. I don't know how it is, but the other speakers, we had been able to hear them very nicely. So
But I didn't use any mic today.
now, without your mic, you are all right now. You are talking. But when you were speaking, we could not hear. So something is wrong somewhere. I can't say anything.
It's,
I'm not but I think Yamuna Mataji knows that, and she might be able to say. But you are very clear now.
There is no explanation.
So that means
Yeah.
Shyamananda and Krishna Das and Zoom, they don't
What
work.
is that lapel microphone Prabhuji uses?
They should come to here. They should come and.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Like how you set up everything.
But I was certainly getting lots of messages.
Okay, so but we didn't use any microphone. So thank you so much for your time and appreciate. Brother Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Jai. Jai.